Have you ever come across old celebrity photographs that make you uncomfortable when you look at them through today's standards? Today, we are talking about Samantha Fox, the British singer and former model who became one of the most recognizable personalities of the 1980s. Her early modeling career attracted enormous attention, but some of the photographs associated with that period have also sparked important conversations about age, consent, privacy, and the way young people were represented in the media. Samantha Fox began modeling as a teenager and became widely known through magazine appearances before eventually building a successful career as a singer. Her rise to fame happened during a period when celebrity magazines frequently used provocative photography to attract readers. Looking back today, some of the material associated with young performers from that era can raise serious questions about whether teenagers were being portrayed in ways that were appropriate for their age. The issue is not simply about a particular swimsuit or photograph. The larger concern is how young people are represented. Teenagers are still developing emotionally and socially, and adults have a responsibility to protect them from exploitation and inappropriate sexualization. Even when something was considered acceptable or normal by parts of society at the time, that does not mean we cannot reconsider it today. Samantha's early fame also demonstrates how quickly a young person can become a public figure. Imagine being a teenager and suddenly having magazines, photographers, and millions of strangers interested in your appearance. Fame can create opportunities, but it can also bring enormous pressure and remove much of the privacy that young people normally deserve. As Samantha grew older, her career increasingly focused on music. She became known internationally for songs such as Touch Me, I Want Your Body, and established herself as a recording artist rather than simply a model. Her musical career allowed audiences to see another side of her talent and personality. However, early images can remain attached to a celebrity's public identity for decades. Once photographs are published and widely circulated, they can be extremely difficult to separate from someone's reputation. The internet has made this even more complicated because old material can be copied and redistributed long after it was originally published. This raises an important lesson about digital permanence. Photographs can remain accessible for generations, and something created when a person was young may continue to affect how people perceive them as an adult. That is one reason modern discussions about privacy and the protection of minors have become increasingly important. Another important issue is consent. Consent should never be treated as the only consideration when minors are involved. Adults, publishers, photographers, and media organizations have a responsibility to consider the welfare and dignity of young people. Protecting minors requires stronger safeguards than simply asking whether they agreed to participate. The story also reminds us that celebrities are human beings rather than objects for public consumption. A famous person can have a complicated history, and their early career should be discussed with care and context rather than simply turned into sensational entertainment. Instead of searching for or sharing inappropriate images involving someone who was underage, it is better to focus on the historical context and the broader lessons. We can examine how the entertainment industry operated, how attitudes have changed, and why stronger protections for young performers are important. Samantha Fox's story is therefore about much more than old photographs. It reflects a period in entertainment history when the boundaries surrounding young performers were often very different from today's expectations. Looking back gives us an opportunity to recognize what has changed and to think about what still needs improvement. Ultimately, young people deserve privacy, dignity, and protection, whether they are famous or completely unknown. Fame should never remove those basic rights. The way society treats young performers says a lot about its values, and learning from the past can help create safer standards for the future. Thanks for watching. If you found this discussion interesting, share your thoughts about how young performers were treated in earlier decades and how media standards have changed. And remember, protecting young people is everyone's responsibility.